Have you ever dreamt of traveling the world, writing a book, running a marathon, starting your own business, or just mastering a new skill, like speaking a different language? This video is going to help you to really unlock the secret to the law of attraction when it comes to manifestation, but particularly mindset and achieving goals. How to actually create a powerful dream bucket list and actually achieve them. My name is Peter Abundant, aka Dr. Abundant, PhD and ordained minister of metaphysical sciences. I am also the author of The Enlightened Shadow and Spiritual, Not Religious, both available on Amazon and Audible. The infamous bucket list. The bucket list, if you don't know, is a list of things that you want to do before you kick the bucket. Now, the irony of a bucket list is oftentimes when people think about the bucket list, life has pretty much passed them by, and they're at a point where they're really thinking about the things that they should have done, could have done, and still have some time to do. But unfortunately, they've waited pretty late in actually implementing and achieving these goals. Now, this is what I want you to do as we talk about bucket lists and as we talk about creating the things that you desire, creating the life that you desire. What I want you to do is change the mindset about the bucket list. And instead of thinking about a list that you want to achieve before you kick the bucket, I really want you to think in terms of a list of things that you want to achieve now, not right before you kick the bucket, but things that you can actually implement and achieve right now, whether it be within this year, whether it be in 5 years. But let's not use the term bucket list in a way that enables procrastination and just waiting and one day and I will and one day I will. And, let's not perpetuate that same mindset. And so what I want you to do is think of the bucket list as a list of things that you wish to achieve right now, that you want to actually start the process of chipping away at the achievement of a particular goal. So whether it be running a marathon, whether it be writing a book, starting a business, learning a new language, we can start that now instead of waiting until much later on in life. Now, if you are somebody who is perhaps later on in advanced stages of life, still, it's all good. We have time. This moment is the time. So let's get into it. When we think about the law of attraction, we understand it as like attracts like. Whatever you are is what you're going to attract in your life. Essentially, it's understanding and simplifying the blueprint of really understanding that the universe is your mirror. It is reflecting everything back to you that you put out. Whatever you are is what you're going to get. How you think, how you, feel, your emotional state, your belief systems, what you do is going to create its equal result. And so you have to be mindful in being intentional about putting out particular things that aligns with what you want out of life. Because if you want something beautiful out of life, but you're putting out ugly vibes, it doesn't make sense that you're going to get beauty, that you're going to get love. If you put out ugly vibes, it only makes sense that you're going to get ugly vibes in return. So you need to understand the power of the law of attraction, how your thoughts, how your feelings influence your reality. That is the blueprint of all of this. Now, we call it law of attraction, but ultimately it's just simply the law of reciprocity, the law of the universe. That's just how things work. You as a conscious being are constantly creating your reality. You are creating your reality from the perspective of your beliefs, your ideals, your emotional state. You are viewing things from that lens. Therefore, you are interpreting, you are adding meaning and definition from that lens. Okay? So when you are mindful about the lens by which you are viewing the reality that you are in, right, then you recognize that you have the ability to change that reality. This is the beauty of metaphysics, right? This is the beauty of really understanding what it really means when you practice law of attraction, like the deeper meanings of it. So when you start to unlock this potentiality of the universe, right, the potential to essentially create anything that you desire, as long as you recognize that whatever you desire depends on the lens by which you see the universe. And so you learn how to tap into the energy of the universe, right, to achieve your dreams by recognizing that the energy is everywhere. The energy is within you. The energy is outside of you, even though outside of you is still you. It's just a layer of you. Just like you have many layers of your physical body, right? You have your skin, you have your muscles, you have your tendons, ligaments, you have your, organs, right? You have your skeletal system. They're all different layers of self. When we get into the mind, you have your conscious mind, subconscious mind, unconscious mind, all layers of the mind. When you get into spirituality, you have consciousness, you have the ego, right? They're all different layers and aspects of who you are and how you express yourself. And so when you understand all these layers, you also understand that the universe is a layer of you. This is why when we get into law of attraction, when we get into understanding that the universe is a reflection, is a mirror of you, that is why, because the universe is simply you. It is a extension. It is a manifestation. It is an experience that your consciousness is having, right? All these things kind of seem like very wait, if it's me, but it's separate than me, then how is it me at the same time, right? It's very interesting, but that's not the point of this video. What I want you to understand, though, is that you and the universe are one, okay? What you put out to the universe comes back to you to experience and have a deeper meaning and connection with self, you see? So it's important when it comes to your bucket list, your dream bucket list, that you learn to embrace a vibration of abundance. When we think of a bucket list, we are thinking of things that we wish to achieve because we acknowledge our own potential. You acknowledge the possibilities of what you can actually achieve in your life, what you can experience in life. Now, sometimes these bucket list items can seem like they take a lot of effort, they take a lot of time, they take deep commitment. And that's why we tend to push them off. That's why they tend to be something that we leave toward the end of life, because we keep pushing them off, not recognizing that you are most equipped to actually check those things off your bucket list right now than you are much later in life. So it is in your best interest to keep putting it off. It is very important to recognize that now is the best time to achieve these things on your bucket list. So that being said, how do we get through this thinking that this item on the bucket list is so huge that we need to continue to wait? We need to get to a point where we are in a space where life is perfect. Everything is aligned. And when everything is aligned, then we will be equipped and able to focus on this particular task, right? Because otherwise, with all that's going on in life at the moment, it seems very overwhelming. And so you want to really understand that this idea of really tackling these things on your bucket list now is grounded in you embracing abundance, you embracing that you can, with all that's going on in life right now, right? All the bills, all the responsibilities, the kids, the family, school, whatever's going on right now, there is still more of you. There is still this ability for you to extend yourself out, to reach toward your desire. Because most of those things that you are bogged down by, most of those things had nothing to do with your personal fulfillment, your joy, your true happiness, your awakening, enlightenment, or what have you. They're just things that society has put on you, and you have accepted them, and you are living from the standard of society. But now what I want you to do is put yourself first. And by putting yourself first, it doesn't mean you neglect those things. It doesn't mean you let go of your responsibilities. It just simply means that out of the list of things that you are to do on a regular basis, right, every day, you are going to first address the things that are important to you, and then everything else comes second, third, fourth, fifth, you see? And so that sets a tone for you to connect with yourself on a deeper level, because you are putting yourself as the priority. And therefore, you are living life according to your own, compass, your own desire, your own purpose. And when you do that, then everything else that follows, it isn't done with a sense of, ease or laziness. Is actually done better because you are properly fueled with a sense of purpose, because you've gotten done the things that are important to you first. Then you feel a sense of fulfillment. You feel a sense of vitality, energy, because you haven't neglected yourself. You actually put more into yourself. Therefore, you have more to give to everything else. Okay. So when it comes to your bucket list, it has to be grounded in the understanding that you are abundant, that you can prioritize yourself first and still get the other things done. Okay. So when we think about the bucket list, creating your dream bucket list starts with identifying your passions, your aspirations, your deepest desires. It comes from a place of gaining true clarity. It comes from a place of, like I often say and talk about, authenticity, really tapping into what you're curious about, what inspires you, what makes you happy, what you are intrigued by. And when you do that, then it gives you a sense of clarity as to your direction, as to your purpose, as to where you are to be intentional with your life, with yourself, you see. So it allows you to unleash a sense of creativity. You begin to enhance certain powers, right? Because now you have a sense of really understanding what works for you, or what direction, what path you are to go. You see, so it may be, like I mentioned before, running a marathon. It may be writing a book, starting a business. These are things that commonly fit the list, like most common things in the list of bucket list, items for most people, right? They're in my bucket list, and I've done most of them. The next thing I need to do is I want to focus on learning a new language, a few languages. Okay. So I have to implement how I've achieved certain things on my bucket list, like running a marathon. I've done that. Written a book. I've done that over 20 times, right? Because I have over 20 books. You have to think about different things that you have achieved already to add context and confidence in your ability to achieve the next thing and another thing. So you have to gain a sense of clarity with identifying what that is based on these passions, based on your aspirations and your desires. You see, now once you do that, the creativity comes in embracing your power to visualize your success in achieving it. Even visualize your past successes in achieving the things that you have achieved before. You see, so when it came to me running a marathon, first, I ran 5K. Then I ran like a 10 or 12K, right? Then I ran a half marathon. Okay. Then I ran another half marathon. Then I finally ran a full marathon. Now, my dream is to go beyond that and run an ultra marathon, which is somewhere around between 50 miles and 100 miles. You see, so the great thing too about addressing your dream list is understanding that that item in itself, that thing on the list can evolve. Like you can take it to another level, you see. And so with visualization, it allows you to see yourself as the successor of that thing already. You're putting yourself already in this future version of yourself. You're connecting with that version of yourself. You see, now you want to constantly imagine yourself at a space where you see the path of you fulfilling that dream, right? And you want to practice things like writing down your dreams with like vivid details. If you're a writer, you want to visualize yourself, whether it be like, if you want to run a marathon, if you're somebody who is taking a walk, you want to visualize yourself walking, maybe taking a break while you're in the marathon, walking to warm up for the marathon. You want to put yourself in the position of being that, right? Being that person, being your future self, having already achieving the goal, in the midst of the goal. So you want to set clear and specific goals, right? Make your dreams tangible. Make the idea of you stepping into these dreams tangible, measurable, right? When you make it tangible, measurable, is actually easier to manifest, easier to obtain. Don't just keep it so vague and open, right? As far as how you're going to achieve this, because the achievement of it, the secret of it really is in the how you're going to do it. Now, sometimes the how isn't revealed to you, right? Especially when you're doing something that is different, when you're doing something that is original, and you can't find a blueprint on how to do it, right? That's your journey. So in that case, you're going to focus on what's the next step, right? Whatever that step is, you put everything you got into it, and then you wait for clarity on the step after, and then you take that step. But most times, the things that we find on bucket lists are things that have been accomplished already, like running a marathon, like writing a book, right? Like starting a business. Now, it depends on, of course, the kind of business you start, but ultimately, the fundamentals are available for you to find to give you a blueprint, you see. So then you want to get into actionable steps to manifest this dream list or this dream item, because you want to just really tackle one item at a time. You can do multiple, but let's just focus on one thing at a time, because it allows you to really get tunnel vision, really get almost obsessed with the idea of this thing and not be distracted. You're only seeing this goal. And when you are putting actionable steps, meaning steps that are consistent and sustainable, right? That is the secret with making sure you do the things you need to do. This is the key to actually making sure that you're consistent, is making sure that the things that you're doing is sustainable. Don't push yourself to the point where you're like, okay, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write 10 chapters over the course of the weekend. Now, you may be able to do that, but chances are you are going to burn yourself out. Chances are you're going to be so tired and overwhelmed that you are not going to be excited about continuing that book. Okay. So it is better to make sure that it is sustainable. It is better to say, you know what, I'm going to focus on writing one page every single day, writing one page in the morning or writing a page at night. You're going to work on, you know what, if I'm going to run this marathon, I'm going to run 2 miles every other day for the next 3 weeks. And then I'm going to increase that to 4 miles every other day for another 4 weeks, you see, or follow a plan that allows you to run a mile or run a series of miles at a, sustainable pace, regimen, so that way you don't feel burnt out. Don't say to yourself, you know what, I'm going to go hard. I want to run this marathon. So therefore, tomorrow I'm going to run 10 miles. Meanwhile, you haven't run a mile since high school, whenever that was. Okay. So take inspired action and actively pursue your goals, but make sure that they are grounded in making the steps sustainable, consistent. Some people like to do things in spurts of like every other day or once a week. Me, myself, I function better when I do things daily because I just make it a part of who I am. I make it a part of my daily routine. It becomes as daily as brushing your teeth, taking a shower. You know what I mean? So that just is my day. That's just what I do. So it's like making videos. I make YouTube videos every single weekday. That's just part of my day. That's just what I do every single day. And then on weekends, I'm thinking about what I'm going to discuss and what I'm going to do the next week. So it is just my life. It doesn't take a lot of time because I figured out how to make it as simple and as effective as possible, meaning it is sustainable, right? It is something that I do. It is simple. It is straightforward. It isn't complicated. It isn't hard. Once you get into a routine of understanding your system, your formula, you just simply continue to work that over and over and over again. And eventually it gets you the result. Okay. Recognize that on a universal level, the universe will always support you. Remember, you are one with the universe. So when you are thinking about this thing, what you are setting out to do, initially, it may be difficult. It may be challenging. It may push you out of your comfort zone. That's what you want. Now, recognize that the comfort zone may be challenged by things that seem to be outside of you. Be open to unexpected opportunities. I'm being clever when I say opportunities, but be open to challenges, unexpected, events, interruptions. Those things are there to show you something maybe pertaining to the goal that you are achieving, or show you something on a grander scale as far as who you are totally. You know what I mean? Like your total journey. Accept that, receive that, use that. There are plenty of times where I've been training for a run or a marathon and something would happen in life and I wasn't able to train for a week, right? Or even 2 weeks. That's okay. You just simply figure it out, you adjust, and then you get back onto whatever it is you've committed to doing. That has happened, and I've gone maybe like a week and a half without running. And so I think that I'm going to start running again. And I think that's going to suck. And I'm like, man, it's going to feel like I haven't even built up my endurance, that I feel like I feel like I'm starting over from scratch. But many times, to my surprise, after 2 weeks, right, I've been consistent for weeks and weeks and weeks. And then all of a sudden something happens. And then 2 weeks go by, I haven't ran. I go run thinking it's going to suck. Actually experienced my best run ever. Felt completely comfortable, completely at ease, very peaceful, very meditative state. You see, sometimes when the universe is interrupting you, when the universe is throwing you a challenge, in many ways, it's actually supporting you. It's actually giving you something that you're just not able to consciously see yet and understand. So you have to trust the universe when that happens. But you always want to be clear that you're committed, and that once you resolve or figure out that unexpected opportunity, you come right back to the goal, right back to addressing and making sure that you fulfill this purpose because you've committed to it. You see? So you got to stay positive. You got to stay positive. You got to stay consistent. They go hand in hand, because it is hard to stay consistent when you're negative. You always have to approach it from the standpoint of knowing that, hey, if all of these people were able to achieve these things, right, then most certainly you can achieve it. Most certainly I can achieve it. You see, yeah, there are a few people in the world that have written a book, that have ran a marathon, right? That have started a successful business, that knows, more than one or two languages. Okay, there are fewer people in the world that understand and have experienced and achieved those things. But it's not so few that you can't see that it is still obtainable for you. And it's not like only one or two people on the planet have achieved those things. Thousands of people have achieved those things. And so you can also achieve those things. So maintain that positive mindset. Understand on the spiritual level, okay, you are infinite, you are divine. Your body is an expression of what you are down to the core. So your body can do pretty much anything that you desire of it to do. So if it's running a marathon and you feel like, okay, I'm out of shape, I'm overweight, or maybe you have a slight physical disability, it's still possible. I've seen some people, do some amazing things while I was running marathons, so you most certainly can. You just have to figure it out for yourself. Writing a book is easy to write books now. You don't even have to literally type and write. You can just simply record it, transcribe it, lay it down, right? So there are ways to do that. I teach that in my workshop on how to write a book, a spiritual book, in 7 days. So it's very important to continue to have a positive mindset, be committed. And when you're committed and that positive mindset come together, you'll be creative and you'll come up with very interesting ways on how you can approach and achieve your particular desire on that list. So when it comes to boosting your manifestation power, you have to embrace a few things. We talked about positivity, but outside of positivity here in your mind, you have to cultivate a space of positivity. Be involved and connect with people who want to achieve the same thing. For marathons, that's why they have running groups. Okay. For writing, they have writers groups. Business associations, right? They have conferences for business. So you have to really find a way to create a space where that desire, like I said before, is such an obsession that your whole life revolves around that momentarily, at least until you achieve that thing. You may achieve it and you may feel like, you know what, this is my life always and forever. And that's a beautiful thing too, but you may feel like, you know what, I'm going to achieve this and then I'm going to go into the next thing. And that's okay. But you must cultivate a environment that will help and support you, especially in the beginning. Now, when you have come into a point where you're so dialed in to that lifestyle, that thing, then eventually it doesn't matter what environment you're in. You're going to just be that, right? Because that's who you understand yourself to be. But in the beginning, when you have to change your mindset, You have to build your confidence. You're a little insecure. Then that's when it's important to cultivate an environment that supports that desire. And then you just can simply keep moving forward from a place of recognizing that, hey, you know what? I have to really dial in and make sure my environment matches my goal. You see, the next important thing is practicing gratitude. Positivity, which we talked about already, comes from a space of recognizing your gratitude to be able to do the things you want to do, right? To be able to even think about the idea that, you know what? I have a fully functional body, right? I have both legs. I can run a little bit. So therefore, with training, I could run a marathon. Being in gratitude that you can even run is very important toward your training. There's been numerous times where I had been training for something, and the thing that has kept me going is being grateful that I can do it in the first place. You see, that's why fitness, any kind of training, doing anything becomes very spiritual when you come from that standpoint, when you recognize that. Writing a book, being grateful that you can even conceptualize, that you can even write down your thoughts, that you can even share this insight and this information to other people is something to be grateful for. To even have an experience where you've come through it on the other side successful, to feel like you have something to contribute to other people is something to be grateful for. So continue to hold that and carry that with you as you go through the process. It's going to be a thing that actually gets you through day in and day out, especially the days where you just really don't feel like doing it and you don't want to do it. One thing that will also boost your manifestation power is the power of rituals, right? So for example, me making videos is a ritual. This is something that I do every day. This is something that I do to promote, to share, to spread love, to encourage you, to help you connect with your divine self. But it is also something that I do for myself because it also helps me do the same thing, right? This is one of my daily rituals. When I wake up in the morning, I don't step out of bed. I sit up in my bed and I do a quick meditation and affirmation. Okay. I state my affirmation 100 times while I am breathing. That is my ritual. Okay. Lately, I've been having a ritual with my son where we get up in the morning, we go work out. He trains for soccer and I get my fitness in because I'm training with him. Okay. Rituals help you, right? They help you align with your desired outcomes and they amplify your energy. They help you stay focused. Okay. So what I want you to ultimately understand in this is that your dream bucket list is a living document, right? It is an expression of your life. Don't make it something that you have to do before the end of life. Make it something that you do during life. Okay. Now it can evolve and it can expand as you experience personal growth and even as you achieve these things. That's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of taking care of them now, because they will send you on the path of really understanding fulfillment and joy. So don't just wait to the end of life, because at that point, you don't have time to go as far as you can if you had started it right now, you see? So embrace the journey, enjoy the process of manifesting your dreams, and celebrate each milestone, even the small ones, even the small little things, the things that we say are sustainable, you know, getting up, running a mile. When you're done with that mile, celebrate that milestone. writing that page for that book. After you've written that page, that's a milestone. Learning a few phrases in a new language. After you have done that, that is a milestone. So celebrate it. Okay. The universe is on your side. Don't ever question that. Believe in your ability to manifest your dreams and just watch your life transform. Watch your life be what it is meant to be. Watch yourself be who you are meant to be. Thank you so much. Now, if you're interested in actually learning how to write your book, I can help you write a spiritual book within 7 days. So feel free to look in the description below. There will be a link to a workshop that I will be having soon. I invite you to join. Until then, feel free to go to drabundant.com, subscribe to my daily newsletter, get access to this free ebook, The Power Within, and so much more. Continue to join me on this journey. Peace and abundance always.